Meet Paige Niemann, a TikToker with 10 million followers, 150 plus million likes, billions of views, and a certain look to her, which is definitely noticeable. Now, I don't really know what it is. Maybe it's just because I got back from my 16th viewing of Wicked, but there's just something that I just can't put my finger on. Is it the camera quality? Is it the background? The ponytail? Oh no. I know what it is. It's the stolen identity.
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim.
Because yes, since 2019, Paige Niemann has become the person known as the TikToker who stole Ariana Grande's identity and used it for TikTok fame, which has even led to numerous occasions where Ariana Grande herself has come out and spoke about Paige. It's one of the wildest stories that I've personally ever seen on TikTok because, yeah, there are people out there that like to emulate the looks of somebody and use it as a bit of a shtick, but when it comes to Paige Niemann, this is an individual that has not only taken the look of Ariana Grande, but she's also took the personality traits that Ariana Grande has, her voice, her laugh, everything about her. This TikToker has taken and used for their very own TikTok page, but overall general life. But it doesn't end there, because on top of stealing the entire identity of Ariana Grande, it seems that recently, in the last 2 years, Paige Niemann has gone a step too far. And I don't know how I can really say this without it sounding as crazy as it is, because it is mental. But pretty much since 2022, Paige Niemann has been selling adult content in the clear look of Ariana Grande, which for obvious reasons is a violation of multiple things. Privacy, just Ariana Grande in general as a human being. It's twisted, it's weird, and it's wrong, and it's led to so much scrutiny and criticism facing Paige over the years, where people who are not just fans of Ariana Grande have spoken against her, but just in general, everyone on TikTok to this day is saying that this individual not only went too far before she started selling adult content, but now she is doing that, it has become something far more unbelievably sinister. And in today's video, what I want to do is pretty much explore this story from the very beginning in 2019, because this is something that I have fleetingly spoke about in the past, but today I pretty much want to go through every single detail and angle in this story, because whilst this whole thing is definitely very sick and twisted, I think there's also a very sad element to all of it. And with that, to get to the very bottom of this story, we need to go to the beginning, and that starts us off with the year of 2019. Now, for some of you, this may be glorious. Going back to 2019 is before the time of where everything went absolutely wrong. But for Ariana Grande, I don't doubt this is a bit of a weird time, because yes, this was the era where a large amount of people on TikTok started emulating, well, pretty much everything to do with Ariana Grande. And one of the main individuals to be doing this was, of course, today's topic, Paige Niemann. At the time, Paige was around the age of 14 to 15 years old, and it seemed that this was just a teenager who really just was a big fan of Ariana Grande, having a fun time on the app. And honestly, I don't really see a problem with this specific part of the timeline. And I was on TikTok in 2019, and I believe maybe even at the ending of 2018, and I remember seeing a lot of people get very upset at Paige at this point of time, but personally, I don't really think it's the end of the world. It was a 14/15-year-old that just really appreciated Ariana Grande, and you know what people do at that age, they can go a little bit too far with their appreciation for certain celebrities, actors, and characters, and it seems that this was just yet again another case of it. I really honestly don't think it's that bad. I'm not going to come on here and say, oh, this 15-year-old dressing up as their favorite celebrity is the worst thing on planet Earth. But an important thing to note about these TikToks that is very key in the growth of Paige Niemann's TikTok channel was that she was emulating a very certain and specific niche look of Ariana Grande. And that was this look right here. Now, for a lot of you, you probably know what this look comes from, what this era is all about, but for the people that don't, pretty much this look comes from the Nickelodeon television show Victorious, where Ariana Grande got extremely popular for playing a character in that show called Cat Valentine. And this show, between the years of 2010 and 2013, was an incredibly popular show, and to this day, it's still a bit of a, I'd say, cultural phenomenon in a way, but it's just a show in an era of shows on Nickelodeon that really resonated with a specific niche audience. Well, I say niche, but a specific audience at that period of time. Even to this day, there are extremely popular videos of people going through Victorious and basically reviewing every single episode for 5 hours straight. And look, I can't judge people for making 5-hour videos. I've made a 7-hour video speaking about Nikocado Avocado, and yes, I'm probably never ever going to be able to live that down. But pretty much Victorious was a very popular show, and Ariana Grande, as I said, got very popular from this show. Because her character, Cat Valentine, for a lot of people, outshined every single main character in Victorious. She was so popular even to the point of where Nickelodeon made this weird spin-off show between Victorious and iCarly featuring Jeanette McCurdy and Ariana Grande, and of course, as a lot of you probably know, this show was called Sam and Cat. So it was very clear that this specific show was very popular amongst a lot of kids and teenagers out there in 2010, and I guess onwards to around 2016, probably even to this day, and this meant that a specific look surrounding Ariana Grande was very popular amongst a lot of teenagers out there. And look, you may not know this about me, but I'm pretty much a guru, a connoisseur when it comes to that 2003 to 2014, not 2014, 2012 Nickelodeon content. I was in the trenches when it came to all of these shows, man. Back in the 2007 financial crisis, all Little Fraser cared about was, did Azula actually just kill, well, spoilers, I guess. But pretty much, I'm an old man. I was around that time, and a lot of my audience are probably going to be thinking, are we all old? The answer is yes. We are going to all die soon. Whether that's from a nuke or whether that's from old age, either way, it's going to happen. And pretty much, yes, this era of Nickelodeon was absolutely massive for a lot of kids out there, including myself, and seemingly including Paige Niemann, who, yeah, basically replicated and took all of the looks from Sam and Cat and Victorious when it came to Cat Valentine, and just kept on replicating TikToks where she takes certain sounds from Sam and Cat or Victorious and used that to get a bit of TikTok fame.
One time, when I was 7, I was at the beach and I made a sandcastle, and I called it Cat's Castle. True story.
And yeah, she just kept on building from TikToks like that and getting very, very popular because yes, this was a look that was very popular amongst teenagers. And did I really need to go into the lore surrounding my opinions and love for Nickelodeon back in the day? Not really, but I hope you now know that I am an expert when it comes to Nickelodeon, and I can kind of conclude that with saying, I hope this man dyes his hair. I promise that's what I was going to say. Look, maybe that man's going to come after me now. I'm going to need some protection, and to pay for protection, you know, the views need to go up, likes need to go up, subscriptions need to go. If you know what I'm saying, could you please subscribe to protect me from... Actually, I feel kind of weird using him as an excuse to get subscribed. Could you just subscribe anyway? He's not going to come for me. He might. But yes, kind of long story short, TikTok in 2019 was primarily dominated by children who are rotting their brains from the TikTok algorithm, and Paige Niemann absolutely played into that by playing into the trend of Cat Valentine on TikTok. Sometimes I feel like I over-explain a lot of things. Oh well. But interestingly enough, in 2019, this actually led to Ariana Grande acknowledging a very specific TikTok from Paige Niemann where she was dressing up as Cat Valentine. Ariana saw that and said, I just wonder why the cat voice / dialogue. I'm sure she's the sweetest sweet sweetheart for real, but it's definitely bizarre seeing people blend the two worlds, LMAO. And look, as an avid user of LMAO at the end of a sentence, I know what LMAO means. It's when you're a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit peed off, but you can't really say it because you know it's probably going to cause more problems than you need at that moment of time, so you just add a little LMAO right at the ending. Because yes, this was the first acknowledgement that Ariana Grande had made of Paige Niemann and the community of TikTokers who are taking this identity of Cat Valentine and using it for TikTok content. And to me personally, and to a lot of people out there at the time, it definitely seems that Ariana Grande wasn't exactly ecstatic when it came to these, I guess, people taking the look and using it for TikTok views, regardless if they were doing it for fun or if they were just trying to get clout from it. And that mainly comes down to the fact that Ariana Grande, seemingly from what I've seen over the past, is someone that is very, very nice to her fans. And I'm not saying she was mean to her fans here, but this was definitely a bit of a cold response in comparison to how Ariana is usually with fans. And again, please, if you're an Ariana Grande stan watching this right now, I will pay for 8 Wicked tickets. I'll go and I'll boost the box office. Just don't dislike the video. Like the video, please. But adding fuel to the fire, this wasn't the only time Ariana Grande actually went on to slate these accounts, because in this Instagram story here, she claims that these accounts are, well, degrading, where she quoted a meme and said, "Please also double your impression of the ponytail TikTok girls who think doing Cat Valentine voices and that wearing winged eyeliner and a sweatshirt is doing a good impersonation of me. Because this is really how it feels, degrading its entire value," I screamed. Now yes, this Instagram story did come about a year or so after the original tweet that we went through previously, but I think it's very, very evident and obvious that Ariana Grande is not a fan of these accounts, and honestly, I can kind of understand why. If you didn't know, a lot of these shows are embroiled in a lot of controversy for very obvious reasons, and I think it isn't something that you necessarily want your entire look to be attached to. But not just with the controversy, Ariana Grande has come out multiple times saying that over the years she's basically struggled to detach herself from the branding of Cat Valentine, and she just doesn't want to be seen as just Cat Valentine. And yeah, I can completely understand this. This is a problem that a lot of actors and celebrities go through, where they have a very hit breakthrough role and it's kind of difficult to detach themselves from that hit breakthrough role. For example, Andrew Garfield recently came out speaking about how he doesn't really just want to be known as Spider-Man, and there's a lot of actors that go through this very similar thing. I think even Robert Pattinson had struggles of breaking out of the mold of just being that guy from Twilight. And yeah, as much as I love the Twilight movies, I can understand the frustration, and I can also understand why Ariana Grande was not exactly happy with these accounts. And not just because of a branding standpoint, but these accounts were also putting out a bit of an inaccurate depiction of who Ariana Grande actually was in 2019, 2020, and 2021 onwards. Because yeah, Ariana Grande is not Cat Valentine. That is a specific character that was known years and years ago. Ariana Grande is Ariana Grande, but the problem is for Ariana Grande personally is that these accounts are now making people think that she is just Cat Valentine, and I can imagine that would be very frustrating because that's not who you are. But yes, with these acknowledgements that Ariana Grande made towards these accounts, it obviously led to quite a lot of people out there talking and basically saying what, you know, was already being said at the time, that all of these accounts are very weird. And this specifically got aimed towards Paige Niemann, who, yes, was the biggest account doing this. She was the one replicating Cat Valentine more than anybody and becoming very well known for it and getting millions upon millions of views in the process. So I guess the question is well, how did Paige respond to this? Well, Paige actually ended up speaking to Teen Vogue about this situation, where she actually said that she was just shocked that Ariana Grande noticed her and actually was shaking and just in general really happy about it. So yeah, it kind of feels that she was taking this in good jest and wasn't really bothered about, I guess, the cold tone that Ariana was giving off. And this can be kind of taken in two different ways here. You could just say, oh, well, yeah, it's good that she's not responding in a bad way. But you could also say, oh, so you're going to continue with the look despite Ariana Grande clearly is not exactly a fan of it? Now, yeah, nobody has the ability to control how you look, what makeup you put on, and what clothes you wear. But I think there definitely is a bit of a barrier that you can breach when you're actually adopting every single bit of your personality. And that's kind of what Paige was doing at this point of time. It very much seemed that even in videos where she's speaking, she was pretty much just emulating everything about Ariana Grande, from her laugh to how she speaks, and we will look into these videos a bit later down this video. Now, personally for me, again, it does just kind of come into the thing of, well, I'm not that bothered at this point of time. I definitely think that maybe she should have took the hints, but at the same time, she was still a teenager at this point. She was 15 years old, and I'm really struggling to beef with a 15-year-old, if I'm honest with you. But this is when things started to get a little bit weird, when she goes on to say that she has now got a talent manager and that she wants to get into singing and acting. Now, a lot of people out there took this as, oh, are you going to go into the acting and music industry still pretending to be Ariana Grande? And cut a long story short, it kind of seems that based on some things that happen in the future that you will see, that I believe was kind of the objective, which obviously makes this even weirder, because there's a difference between impersonation for the sake of, I don't know, satirical comedy and actually stealing someone's identity and using it to create an actual business. To me personally, it's just a bit weird. But shortly after this, Paige came out and acknowledged the situation once again in an interview with Entertainment Tonight and Access Hollywood. And these interviews were actually recorded in video, and this caused a lot of people to actually see, well, Paige Niemann as herself outside of the TikToks where she's able to get certain angles and make her makeup look in a certain way on an iPhone screen. And in this case, it was actually her in a professional video-based environment. And yes, that basically led to a lot of people in the comment section pretty much saying that, well, Paige does not necessarily look exactly like Ariana Grande, and I guess a lot of people were saying that specific angles have helped her on TikTok to look like Ariana, but outside of TikTok, it very much doesn't seem that she looks like Ariana Grande. And yeah, whilst this is not necessarily the biggest criticism on planet Earth, I think it's definitely interesting, especially when you get into a lot of things that Paige has said later down the years to kind of deflect away from criticism, which we will get into, by the way. But another thing to note is that in this, Paige actually does go on to confirm that Ariana Grande actually reached out to Paige, telling her that she's beautiful in her own way and that she's proud of her. Which, yeah, at face value, that is really nice. But a comment pointed out that this was probably just Ariana Grande saying that she was beautiful in her own way as a bit of a subtle hint that she wanted Paige to stop copying her. And yeah, I think this definitely is true, but it doesn't take away from the actual real niceness behind Ariana Grande's message. You see, this comes into a bit of the sad aspect that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, because pretty much a lot of people over the years and to this day have said that it's sad that Paige has never really found her own personal identity, and that from a very young age she latched on to a very, good-looking, very famous celebrity. She latched onto them and took that identity and used it as her own because she hadn't really discovered her own yet. And over the years of doing this for so long, she has not been able to find her own identity, and that's just in general quite sad. And this is something that I think is very true and isn't just applied to Paige Niemann. This is something that I've said in the past about, God, even Ollie London. When Ollie London came on the scene and was like desperately trying to look like Jimin from BTS, whilst it was incredibly creepy and weird and a complete, breaching of privacy and stuff like that, it definitely was at the core of it though, very, very sad. This was an individual who had not found any form of self-identity and worth in their life, and because of that, they latched onto someone else's identity. And yeah, aside from all of the extremely valid criticism, that is very, very depressing, and it is a bit of a side effect of worshipping celebrities. So if you are, in love with a celebrity, or you follow them like it's the only thing you've ever wanted to do, maybe just take a breather and realize there is more to worshipping a celebrity. I'm not saying you can't be a specific fan of something, but I am saying that there are times where you do just need to take a breather, step back, and realize that sometimes things may be getting a little bit unhealthy in regards to your obsession with a specific person. And it seems that Paige was definitely in that category of people that were going down a very unhealthy obsession, but that was also becoming her business. And whilst that is, in my opinion, quite unethical, it is also, again, quite sad, because on top of her not having her own identity, that is actually now becoming her business and is making this even more inescapable. And whilst, yes, I do believe Paige should have stopped doing this a very long time ago, it is kind of in a weird, messed up way a little bit understandable to see how she fell further and further down the rabbit hole. Because yeah, Paige did not take any hints from Ariana Grande whatsoever and just continued to push this weird stolen identity shtick, and that even led her being brought into other content creators' videos as Ariana Grande, which you can see here in this Brent Rivera video from late 2019, which is titled Surprising My Friends with Ariana Grande. And yes, you guessed it, it doesn't actually feature Ariana, it just features Paige.
Lexi, are you ready to see who I got you? Alright, on 3 you're gonna take your blindfold off, okay? Alright, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah! Oh, wait a minute!
It's Ariana Grande!
Wait, is it that?
Yeah, it is!
Wait, what?
Sing along. I don't think she's ready. I don't think her voice is ready yet.
Wait, so is this Ariana Grande or not?
Okay, no, so it's actually not Ariana, but I could actually get Ariana Grande, so we got Paige here.
You look just like her. Yo, what?
Oh my god. Oh, the laugh. The laugh is a bit much. I've not really paid attention to many Ariana Grande interviews over the years, but it very much seems that she has taken every form of personal identity that Ariana Grande had between the years of 2010 and 2013 with the Cat Valentine character, and is still applying it in like 2020 and late 2019, and it is just bizarre because this is no longer just an impersonation thing. That's just her laughing. Look at her mannerisms here. If you know Ariana Grande specifically from the era of like 2013 to 2016, this is her taking all of those mannerisms and adopting it herself, and it's very weird. From the big oversized sweater to like the holding the hands in a weird way. If you knew Ariana Grande back then, you would know what I'm talking about. If you really want, you can go find some old Ariana Grande interviews and you will see that this individual is just trying to be her. Even outside of when Brent Rivera reveals, oh yeah, this obviously isn't Ariana Grande, she doesn't drop the impersonation shtick. It's just like, no, I am still going to be Ariana Grande. And look, I get it, it's a teenager who's very obsessed, but it is getting weird. And you can kind of understand why Ariana Grande was a bit standoffish and cold with this sort of thing. Because there is a big difference from these TikToks here and actually making it your entire business and brand and then going into other videos where you're doing this, in my personal opinion. And again, people will say impersonators have existed since the beginning of time. And yes, that is true. And honestly, it still is a bit weird with those guys either way, but at the same time as well, those guys actually impersonate as a job. They stop doing it at one point of time, but with this individual, she never has ever seemed to really ever stop with this Ariana Grande persona stealing. It's very, very odd. But fellas, the act was working for Paige. At this point of time, she was getting 20+ million views on some of her TikToks, and in every single one of them, she was pretending to be Ariana Grande. This was no longer a small little business venture. This was becoming a real large business. She had a manager at this point of time. She was featuring in popular content creators' videos at this point of time. This was a success story for her in a very, very weird way. And obviously, this just led to more and more angry comments. And that specifically came from the fact that she was still, despite Ariana airing her, I guess, cold standoffish take about her impersonating Cat Valentine, she still continued to impersonate Cat Valentine.
Cat International Spot. Is this a closet party? I think I might have a bibble problem. Oh my god, I'm on the mood. What you gonna do about it, clown? Huh? I thought this was a closet party.
Honestly, I can kind of understand at this point why the Ariana Grande Stanleys at that point of time were getting, you know, a little bit frustrated with Paige. Because, yeah, Ariana had pretty much hinted to her that, you know, she wasn't really happy with what she was doing. And she wasn't making any acknowledgements of that whatsoever. And in fact, she was just doubling down. And yeah, she is a teenager. But you feel like a teenager would have some form of guardian or parent to put their hand around them and be like, you know, that worldwide international famous celebrity who's also a multimillionaire has told you they're not happy with what you're doing. Maybe you should, like, not steal their identity. But no, the parent just didn't do that, and in fact the parents will come into this later in this story, and she just kept on pretending to be Cat Valentine. Even in 2021, she is still, to this day, pretending to be Cat Valentine. And look, as much as this started off, in my opinion, as just a bit of a sweet thing of where a fan clearly appreciated Ariana a lot, this was becoming more than that. And whilst you could say that Paige is going too far at this point of the timeline, there are many other things such as this right here that really upset a lot of people. Basically, Paige took the wedding photos of Ariana Grande and replicated them, recreated them in the same headdress as Ariana Grande, and even tried to emulate some of her poses. And yeah, the community at the time saw this as just a really, really weird thing, and it was clear that this was no longer just her doing this as a fan who was just excited to dress up as Ariana Grande. Because Paige clearly knew that this was working for her, and at this point of time, with the hired manager and everything, this was something that she, in my opinion, was just absolutely doing for money. I mean, going back to 2020, Ariana Grande even made another tweet stating that she's unable to wear certain outfits lately because of the traumatic image she has of TikTok performers. And yet, despite this, Paige, still persisted in emulating Ariana's looks at every single point of time. This even got to the point of where other co-stars from Victorious came out and basically said that what Paige was doing was actually word for word disturbing.
Have you seen the Ariana lookalike?
Yeah.
Very disturbing.
Yeah, super disturbing.
It's all...
Someone sent that to me.
Is this a closet party?
Listen, I hope she's making money. I've seen worse impersonators of other people, you know what I'm saying?
No.
She looks like her.
Yeah. Totally.
I'm super creeped out by it, though. She looks too much like her. I'd actually maybe not do it. She must know she's too close.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're too close. It's like if you hire an Elvis impersonator. It's like, it's funny. Like, he gets there and you're like, oh, like, I get it. It's Elvis.
Yeah, he's fat.
But if you hired, that's not funny. That's confusing.
Yeah, it is.
And that's what I don't like.
I'm happy for her. Apparently she's very nice, though. I read there was some, I read like a kind of like a nosy aunt Sunday morning. I'll read like,
You go to Yahoo?
what are the kids talking about? Yeah, I go to Yahoo. And I guess Ari commented or something saying that it was weird, and it is weird.
Now look, my friends, if I was stealing somebody's identity and using that for TikTok fame, and then that person who I stole the identity from came out and basically said that they don't want people to do that, and then one of their co-stars, who is definitely still friends with them, came out and also said that it's very disturbing and weird, I feel like I would take the hint. I feel like I'd be like, all right, I've got 10 million followers now. Maybe it's time to call it quits and move on to like something a bit more original. And yeah, you could say that I'm not original because I speak about other people, but at least I'm not trying to be Paige Niemann. Can you imagine that? If I made this Paige Niemann video for next 2 years, I'm just pretending to be Paige Niemann. It just wouldn't make much sense. It would be a little bit weird, to be honest with you. In fact, yeah, Paige, if you're watching this right now, would you not feel weird if like I made an entire page dedicated to just copying every single thing that you do? And also, to cut a long story short, then take your personal look and then sell that for content on an adult-based website. I know I'm not doing a good job of maintaining the timeline here of where we're actually going to get to the more serious stuff, but you know, when you put that into context, that would be a very problematic and weird and disturbing thing for me or any other individual watching this right now to do. So why is it okay when it happens to Ariana Grande? This is something which I think can also evolve into a bit more of a serious conversation surrounding idolization of celebrities once again, because I feel like sometimes we don't treat celebrities like humans. And yes, I know, boo-hoo, the millionaires are mistreated. Okay, I get it. But you do have to be a bit humane sometimes and realize that these are also regular, normal human beings that deserve the same level of respect and treatment that we'll get. And I think that stealing someone's identity, regardless of their fame and fortune, is never, ever going to be okay. But despite everything, Paige just continued with what she was doing, and she just continued to get more and more criticism in her comment sections, and it did eventually lead to Paige actually lashing out, not at the community for the criticism, but actually, surprisingly, at Ariana Grande.
I'm used to Ariana shading me, so
Yeah, I mean,
it's
whatever.
I'm just here to entertain people. Like, it's not how
True.
I am in real life.
I mean, you don't care.
Kind of why I'm not a fan of her anymore, honestly. Like, I'm slowly getting rid of all my Ariana stuff.
Now look, this is definitely a bit of a strange response to make to all the criticism that she's receiving, specifically aiming it at Ariana Grande by saying that she's no longer a fan of Ariana because of basically the shade that she's being put in towards Paige. But at the same time, you have to also kind of understand that Paige was a 15/16-year-old at this point of time. And obviously, teenagers are very, very impulsive and not exactly the most rational of individuals. We've all been a teenager. We all know how we act under pressure. And Paige definitely was under a lot of pressure at this point of time. And she was receiving a lot of criticism. Yes, valid criticism, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it will put you under a lot of pressure, especially when Ariana Grande has made the tweets that we've gone through today. And look, I completely agree with those tweets from Ariana Grande, but you can't deny that obviously it's probably going to make a 15/16-year-old act in a certain way with all the pressure that they're under. So I can kind of understand where Paige is coming from here. And you would think with this, it would kind of put the saga to an end. She's no longer a fan of Ariana Grande, so she's no longer going to pretend to be Ariana Grande. And as you obviously know, it does not go down that route, because despite not being a fan of Ariana Grande, she still persisted with stealing the identity of Ariana Grande, which obviously did not run well with a lot of fans out there, because at this point of time it had moved past a quirky little fan trying to have fun to, oh, she's actually just using her identity to get money. And yeah, the public perception of Paige, let's just say it was at, in 2021, pretty much an all-time low. But that didn't stop Paige, because in 2021 she was still appearing as Ariana Grande, as you can see in this music video here, where she features doing the whole Ariana Grande look. And it was very weird considering she had said, well, she's no longer a fan of Ariana Grande. People in the comment section even said, didn't this girl say she wasn't a fan of Ari anymore and that she'll get rid of all of her Ariana stuff? The irony. She says she's not copying Ari, but she literally has the same makeup, hairstyle, style. Like, please, I don't hate Paige, but she needs to find her own style. And yeah, these comments are absolutely fair. Again, there is still a bit of the sinister thing there, of she's basically trying to completely monetize Ariana Grande's identity. But there is also this sad aspect of this person simply just cannot find their own identity. And at this point of time, they had pretty much became what seemed to be a bit of a messed up mini Ariana Grande. And the fire only got bigger in April 2022 when she started selling merch using the likeliness of Ariana Grande. And I don't think I need to really explain why this was obviously very controversial, but I'm gonna do anyway. Basically, selling this merchandise just indicates to the world that obviously she's doing all of this now just for money and attention. And a lot of people at this point of time did actually start to lose the whole sob story aspect of this isn't exactly an identity issue, and it's more of this is just her doing everything for money issue. Now, personally, I think nuance can come into this. I definitely think it's a bit of a mix. This thing that she started in 2019 had grown into something that I don't think she really expected it to, and I think she was just struggling to let that go because at this point of time, it was her main financial avenue. And I think the weirdest part about all of this is that this shtick was going on for, at this point in 2022, for 3 years. And at that point, Paige was 18 years old. And I think a lot of people out there just kind of expected Paige to, well, give up on the whole shtick. Like, yeah, you can get popular on TikTok for a certain trend, but if you repeat that trend again and again and again, you're just going to become known as the person that is just oversaturating the joke from 4 years ago. There are so many TikTokers out there that have like 3 seconds of fame and they just can't let go of that because they can't find anything else that was interesting as the thing that got them those 3 seconds. And it very much seems that Paige is in that category of TikToker. And look, at this point in the midway of 2022, Paige didn't even really have fans. It was more just people flocking to her page to criticize her and say, well, just in general, this is really, really weird. And overall, it just seemed that things weren't exactly going too well for Paige. Yes, she was still getting views on TikTok, but overall, it just kind of felt that those views came from people just hate watching her. But this is where the story actually kind of turns to a more sinister angle. And yes, it's going to play into the things that I've fleetingly mentioned throughout this video. Because in the midway point of 2022, in September, Paige announced that she was starting a new platform. And this is a platform which I can't name in this video for monetization reasons, but let's just say a lot of lonely mans go onto this website and purchase a lot of specific adult-related content. Basically, a certain link appeared in a certain someone's Instagram bio. And necessarily, this wasn't an issue because Paige had started doing that specific type of content. The issue came from the fact that it was very clear that this Ariana Grande shtick, the stolen identity aspect of Paige's life, was not just going to be contained to Instagram and TikTok. It was very evident to the world that she was now going to sell her stolen identity shtick on this website. Because yeah, you can clearly see that she is still pretending to be Ariana Grande and is selling that identity on this adult content-based website. And I don't care what anyone says, this is one of the strangest and weirdest things that I think I've ever seen. And just in general, it's quite sick and twisted. And I think the problem is it's kind of hard to define what this really is, because yeah, you can make the argument that Paige is just wearing a specific style of makeup and clothing, but it's very obvious to all of us, if you're not an idiot, what Paige is doing. It's a bit of a heavy topic to go through, honestly, but it's very clear she has acknowledged a lot of people out there are attracted to Ariana Grande, and she's trying to monetize that, monopolize that, trying to actually make that into a thing that people can purchase. And obviously, that is just a violation of Ariana Grande's privacy, who she is as a human being. And a lot of people have pointed out the obvious, that it just takes the extent of sexualizing a certain individual and amplifies it by 1,000,000. And this is just incredibly disturbing. And she's made multiple posts on her Instagram where she's come out saying that yeah, the link is in the description, and obviously a lot of people out there were not happy, with some people saying that this was one of the most disrespectful things that they have ever seen. But what makes this even more insane is that Paige actually came out on the defensive after the entire internet went crazy because of this story. She came out by stating that she's not even cosplaying as Ariana, and that this is misinformation, and that other Ariana lookalikes do the adult websites, but no one talks about it, and that she's allowed to wear a ponytail like the rest of the world. Now, in my opinion, there is a direct contradiction in that response, because she says that she's not cosplaying Ariana on that adult site, but she also then points out that other Ariana lookalikes are doing the same thing on that site. So I'm just confused to why you would bring those lookalikes up if you're not also trying to be a lookalike on that site. To me personally, this just seems to be a bit of a self-report and admittance that yes, she is absolutely emulating, cosplaying, whatever you want to say, pretending to be Ariana Grande on this certain website. And the fact that she even tries to deny this is just absolutely hilarious. I mean, look at this TikTok right here of where she's not actually wearing Ariana Grande makeup. To me personally, she does not really look that much like Ariana. Yes, there's obviously the slightest of slight resemblance, but then taken to context of what we spoke about earlier, of a lot of this coming down to angles that Paige has specifically chosen herself to look like Ariana from a certain angle and perspective. When you actually go to videos of where she isn't choosing the angles, she doesn't necessarily look that much like Ariana Grande. Now take that information and go to posts like this. I don't care what anyone is saying, I think it's very obvious that she's copying the makeup and overall look of Ariana Grande. I think you're playing blissful ignorance if you choose to believe otherwise. And even if you still don't believe me that she's still trying to replicate this look in this new adult age of Paige Niemann's, I guess, internet activity, let's just go to one of her most recent TikToks of where she's clapping back against people who state that her boyfriend is only with her for looking like Ariana Grande. It's very obvious here that she is definitely admitting to the fact that yes, she still wants to look like and copy everything to do with Ariana Grande. I mean, she's now even moved into copying how Ariana looks in 2024. And I'm not trying to play into the whole debate about how Ariana Grande's looks have changed so much over the years, but people change and look a bit different every single year. I probably look a little bit different to how I looked 3 months ago, and it's very clear Paige is copying everything to do with Ariana Grande in 2024. And it's weird because this has been going on for 6 years at this point. And you'd feel that, I don't know, a friend, a family member would maybe put the arm around her and say, you can kind of move on now, Paige. You've got your money. Maybe stop pretending to be this individual. Is getting a little bit weird. You're 20 years old now. But no, the exact opposite of that happened. Because in 2023, Paige's own mum came out and called Ariana Grande a bully. And look, if somebody was doing a nude cosplay of me, I would probably also bully them. But the defense didn't end there, where she has also gone on to state that Ariana Grande is pretty much a hypocrite for being inspired by Britney Spears, where she says, ooh, she can be inspired by a pop star, but Paige can't. I mean, there is a clear and distinct and obvious difference between being inspired by somebody's music and being inspired by somebody's look to a point of where you steal their entire identity and then use that to sell adult content. I think Ariana Grande genuinely has the full right to be mad at all of the individuals out there that have supposedly copied her look and used that as a way to sell adult content. If I was her, I would try and sue all of these individuals. I'm not even joking. I don't even know if there's any legal issues going on here. But it has to be, right? They are blatantly, in specific, Paige is blatantly taking the identity and using that for adult content purposes, which she is selling for a subscription-based fee. I mean, even in recent TikToks, you can see the mother and Paige together impersonating Glinda from Wicked, obviously Ariana Grande, who plays Glinda, and it's just really weird in the context of everything, because you do have to just kind of ask Paige of, do you not have, like, any shame whatsoever? I know there's like a whole sad aspect to, oh, maybe she hasn't got any personal identity, but honestly, this has gone past that at this point. This is just extremely twisted and extremely creepy. And again, I'll bring up the point I made earlier of, if I took Paige's identity and started selling adult-based content around that identity, that would be a very weird and twisted thing, and naturally, I would be cancelled for doing that. And the same goes for anyone out there who would do that with literally any other human being. Why is it different because Ariana Grande is a famous rich celebrity? Side note, it's not different, it's still weird, and it's still twisted. And what's even weirder is that some people in her comment sections are actually coming to Paige's defense, saying that impersonators have always existed, like Elvis and Michael Jackson impersonators. I mean, yeah, but the difference is between them and Paige Niemann is that they're not getting their schlong out whilst doing the moonwalk. Like, I can't really show the full thing of what's being posted here, but again, it's a very revealing post where she is clearly trying to look like Ariana Grande. And someone in the comments made an excellent point stating the fact you're sexualizing Ariana like this is illegal. Now, I don't know if it is, but they claim it is. You're not only trying to take the personality of another person, but you're also making content enhancing the person. It's extremely disturbing and offensive. I'm worried about you. This isn't mentally healthy. And yeah, despite all of the extremely valid criticism, we have to all acknowledge that yes, this isn't mentally healthy. This can't be a normal thing to do on a day-to-day basis. Copying someone's entire identity for 6 years straight is not a normal thing to be doing. And genuinely, Paige, if you're watching this right now, look in the mirror and realize you're not Ariana Grande. You can be someone very different and someone unique. You can be Paige Niemann. But at the same time, even if she did that now, she's never going to escape the valid criticism from the fact that yes, she stole someone's identity and used that for adult content. And to this day, Paige is still receiving a barrage of criticism on every single post that she makes. And it does kind of feel that she isn't making as many posts as she used to make between 2019 and 2022, but she still gets a large amount of criticism and hate. And yes, that did eventually lead to Paige being banned from TikTok and Instagram, which shortly lasted about 5 days. Because yes, despite the celebration surrounding that she was banned, Paige is now back and she is doing everything that she was doing before, if not even worse. And that does kind of bring us to the ending of this very, very weird story, and honestly, kind of sad story. I think this does actually come down to someone who has struggled with their identity since they were a teenager, and it led to them building a business around someone else's identity and made the whole thing seem a little bit inescapable because she had now become the person known for a certain thing, and she did not know what to do outside of that. But aside from that, we can't ignore that what's happened here is also incredibly messed up and wrong. I don't really think there's a way to rectify any of this. It would help if she just stopped doing what she's doing on this certain website. You know, if she wants to continue to produce content on there, you know, go ahead. That's none of my business. But maybe, definitely stop producing content in the look of Ariana Grande, and also definitely stop denying it. The internet aren't idiots. We have seen this entire timeline of her pretending to be Ariana Grande. We know what she does, what she acts like, and we know that is what she is doing on this website. And it is incredibly, incredibly weird, sick, and twisted. To conclude this weird and long story, I think the lesson we can learn from this is yes, we can be massive fans of certain celebrities out there and big fans of the work that they put out into the world, but at some points, you do have to take a step back and realize that maybe some people are going a little bit too far, and stealing the identity of a certain individual is definitely something that you should not do. I know these individuals here are very pretty, but you cannot be them. I'm speaking to you right now, Ollie London. You can't do it. But yeah, that is the ending of the video. I would love to know what you guys think about all of this though, because this has been a topic that I've wanted to speak about for a very, very long time. And with Paige being banned, I thought this would probably be the best time to speak about it. And then obviously she was unbanned. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. It is a bit of a weird thing, but also please do not go and send Paige any hate whatsoever. I don't want to be the person that contributes to that. And I want to just say, if you go and do that, you are a big old bellend. Please do not do that. So yeah, go to the comment section, let me know what you think. Please also subscribe to the YouTube channel, like this video, and also if you could, please go subscribe to my podcast. It's called Over the Pond, and it features me and my good buddy Obese to Beast, where every single week we upload a new episode speaking about pretty much anything going on the internet that week. We speak about our personal opinions on a lot of things out there, our personal life experiences, and just in general, it's a really fun experience that we get up to every single week, and we would love it if you guys came over and subscribed to the channel. It would really mean the world to us. But yes, with that, I feel like I need to go take a bath now, because honestly, this whole situation has kind of made me feel a bit weird. I don't know what it is about the whole stealing Ariana Grande's identity thing, but it definitely is one of the weirdest things that I think I've ever seen on social media. With that, my friends, I'm going to end it there. Peace out, have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.